Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Compliance Coach. Today we are talking about the top 10 developments and challenges in compliance in 25. Wow! Last year we had already the top 10 ranking list, so let's see of how the different topics have been evolved. And very often we are talking about challenges. We should talk about it as well on opportunities. What to create, how to come out of that, what are our observations on this one. So you have chosen the right channel. My name is Rolf Ebert. I'm the compliance coach, 25 years of experience in the banking sector in global roles. I'm here to guide you, give you insights and facts, of course. So stay tuned on this channel, thinking and impacting compliance differently. Number 2 is ESG and greenwashing risk. Why is it so interesting? Because last year it figured still on number 7. Now, is it becoming less important? I don't think so. It's just only that other topics in the compliance sector are still very much burning. So here the indicators are quite clear from the Financial Stability Board and the European Banking Authority, who have increased their standards and their scrutiny on ESG relevant disclosure. So in this regard, the reporting standards need to be kept and firms must ensure an accurate sustainability claim to avoid reputational risk in that field. So ESG still on the list. Number 9 is data protection, and in particular the cross-border data transfers. Why? Because under the Gartner review, it is estimated that in 2025, 75% of all world population will be under personal data protection rules. That was not the case before. So when we see the Digital Market Act, the China's PIPL and others like the European GDPR, we see that these are heavily involved, meaning financial institutions are coming under pressure to make these regulations fly and to respect to that. So still on the agenda, even if it's one up only in 2025 with regard to 24, to keep in mind data protection. Number 8 is AI governance and compliance ethics. Why is that so interesting and new? Because we had already last year artificial intelligence and digitalization as main elements, and here is already something coming out of this opportunity, meaning the implication based on a Deloitte survey, for instance, is that 60% of the financial firms are already to a certain extent integrating AI solutions into compliance operations, but only 30% have a clear AI governance framework, meaning in terms of at what stage are compliance officers interfering, how they do it, are they only validators or still collectors of this data? And so this is tremendously important when you show like to a regulator why you have not taken into consideration a transaction alert. It's not because your digital AI robot says, no, it's irrelevant. You need to have as well a human interaction. And how is that to be embedded in the compliance framework? Still on 2025, a top topic. Number 7 is new, but not really new like such, because it's KYC and AML regulations. These have occurred in the last 3 years, nearly on all markets, whether it's Switzerland, London, the US, and elsewhere, as a part of a reaction of the supervisor with the lack of AML program integration. And we will see that later on in the top 10 list, that has a huge impact on financial institutions as well. So number 7, AML and KYC regulations. Number 6 is AML risk. Yes, so what we have already said in number 7 is now here on number 6, but with a focus on counterparty risks. And why is that so important? Because we have observed that not only the bank is in a client-bank related setup, but in third-party relationships. What do we mean? Vendor, it could be as well clients of your clients, service providers, etc. And based on a PwC report, 70% of the financial crime comes from these kind of third-party relationships. And I have gone a little bit through the Switzerland information, and here the risk indicators are quite interesting because we have, in particular in 2024, observed several enforcement procedures against tier 3, 4, and 5 banks with regard to the lack of the implementation or the accurateness of the AML framework. So not a top 5 topic, but still on the higher rank of compliance topics, AML risk. Number 5 is crypto and digital asset compliance. Why is that so important? It's up one place with regard to 24 because the Basel Committee has finalized the global crypto regulatory framework. We have seen, and we talked already about that, the EU MiCA settings, which are coming into place. And what does it mean? It puts more pressure on financial institutions in terms of how do we assess the crypto risks, what are the necessary transaction controls and the licensing for compliance for those kind of digital assets and so on. We'll certainly do this year another upgrade of this super interesting topic. So number 5 is crypto and digital assets. Number 4 is, and nearly in the top 3, conduct and culture of compliance. Why do I love that topic? Because the human touch of compliance, one of my key topics in my series, and I did already last year a complete series on the element of conduct risks and why still the human error is so important. And here as well, the numbers are quite clear. The Financial Conduct Authority in the UK reported that misconduct-related fines surged by 30% only in 2024. So, despite the regulations, despite the pressure by the regulators, we still have here an increase, and that will certainly prevail regardless of the implementation of AI solutions, etc. So organizations are still have to focus in terms of fostering compliance culture, emphasizing ethical behavior, and there's of course a lot of things to do. You can write vision, mission statements, you can put up the so-called RM scoring cards in terms of penalizing wrong behavior, getting accountability, and whistleblower procedures. That all in one sense did not help really to bring that topic out of the top 10 focus. We'll certainly do another episode in 2025 on this super interesting topic. Number 4, conduct risk and culture of compliance. And now we are coming to the top 3 of the Compliance 2025 challenges. Number 3 is, what a surprise, geopolitical tensions and sanctions. I think it's not useful to mention that anymore in the context of today's time, and that topic prevails already at the top list for the last 3 years. We could count the conflicts when it comes to the geopolitical tensions, whether it is in Europe, in the Middle East, and elsewhere. The topic is that the impact on the financial industry is tremendously, and we see that as well, for instance, from the Office of Foreign Asset Controls, OFAC, in the US, which has increased its enforcement procedures by 40% in the last 2 years, which still signalized a heightened attention and a focus on this one. And what does it mean for a financial institution is you need not only to monitor and manage the client relationships, but the counterpart relationships as well, in terms of which kind of ships have been used, where are aircrafts flying, which are the counterparties, and so on, in terms of getting into this kind of sanction circle, what we need to benefit from that one. So by having said that, I think this focus will remain of an element, and despite AI, despite digitalization, etc., it's still the top 3 topic, and of course we will do another session in 25 on this topic in particular. Number 2 is operational resilience and cybersecurity. It's one up with regard to 2024. Why is that so important? Because the IBM's 2024 cybersecurity report underpinned that there is with the EU's DORA Act, the US SEC cyber disclosure rules, a very strong focus of the regulators to put these frameworks into place and protect the banks as well as the customers. The truth, however, is a little bit different, because I found another very interesting report indicating that 46% of all financial institutions reported experiencing in the last 2 years a data breach, which is underscoring that this sector is still vulnerable. And I always love numbers, is when you look on the loss side, that is even more tremendously warning, because over the past 2 decades, the financial sector has seen roughly $12 billion of losses, which have been incurred over cybersecurity related elements. And that number is already outrageous. What is more worrying, if you see that over the last 4 years, 2020 to 24, for instance, 2.5 billion are subject to this cyber attack element. And I think it's certainly one of the most important elements for the bank to be protected in terms of making 2025 not another nightmare coming from any kind of these threats, and to build resilience when it comes to cyber security risks. So we will have a focus on this one. Definitely do another episode on this one. Number 2, operational resilience and cybersecurity. And number 1 is regulatory technology and compliance automation, digitalization. And we had already AI elements beforehand when we talked about the AI compliance in meaning of how far in our compliance frameworks can we integrate AI technology and what does it mean from a governance perspective. This one is even more interestingly because a McKinsey study estimated that by 2025, roughly 50% of the compliance functions will be automated, meaning reducing the manual workload of 40%. Those ones who have been already with me for the last 2 years know that I did already a lot on the human touch and will AI replace the compliance officers, yes or no? It's not the case, but it is clearly that the financial industry has to more and more embed these RegTech solutions, AI-driven analytics in the programs. It's nearly an expectation by the regulator, who on its side works as well with the same kind of technology. So banks are forced to be equal on that level, but meaning you need, of course, having the right talents that are doing so. And very interesting, especially you know that I'm working in Switzerland. So another survey mentioned between 2011 and 2020, the Swiss banking industry experienced a reduction of the workforce approximately of 20,000 full-time position, decreasing the all-over staff from 110 to 90,000. And of course, that one was very much related not only to the downfall of Credit Suisse, but as well to the impact of digitalization. Now, if you look on the net factor, meaning what does it mean? Is it just a loss of people or is it a transformation of people? And the reply to that is very easy. It is a transformation in our business as well. And I always try to tell that as well into our team. So if you get more data on this one, it's very interesting. In some areas, for instance, we see that digitalization and the demand for roles such as the AI and machine learning specialist has heavily increased. The World Economic Forum, for instance, projects already a 40% in AI-related machine learning specialist roles by 2027. So if you do not know what to do, I would definitely advise you to go in the AI technologies. But what it shows is there is a huge change going on in our activity, and we need to, whether we want it or not, take care of that. So last year's number 1 is this year's number 1, and don't forget one thing, because the RegTech industry is very much in line with what the financial industry is doing. We talked already about this one a lot, meaning it makes it more sense that a bank is investing in own products, in own tools, or do these kind of fintechs and regtechs have a role to play? You know my answer to this one, and I have already the witness and the testimony of a lot of very interesting projects in this regard. But I think we will do certainly another episode on this one. So number one stays number one from 2024: regulatory technology, compliance automation, and digitalization. That was it for this episode 2025, the top 10 compliance challenges. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more of this channel. My name is Ralf Ebert. I'm the compliance coach. Looking forward to see you next time. Stay tuned and don't forget, thinking and impacting compliance differently.